Viewers, welcome to my channel IIT JEE Olympiad and AP Physics with Ambarish. And in today's video, I'm going to present to you the solution to problem 3 of INPHO 2020. So without much ado, let's straight away get into the problem. So what's the problem? Consider the Bohr model of hydrogen atom. Let Me and E be the mass and the magnitude of charge and electron respectively. Let A0 be the ground state radius or Bohr radius. Obtain an expression for ionization energy IH of the ground state of the hydrogen atom in terms of A0 and constants. Now this is a very straightforward problem based on standard theory that we derive in IIT JEE about Bohr model. So straight away solution is very straightforward. We write the equations of angular momentum and we write the equation for centripetal force due to electrostatic attraction. So very simple equations. mv square by A0, let's say A0 is the Bohr radius, is equal to k E square upon A0 square, where k is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. So that's the centripetal acceleration is equal to centripetal force provided by electrostatic attraction. And then the Bohr's quantization rule, that is mvr is equal to nh by 2 pi, or in the case of first orbit, so me, that's the mass of electron into velocity in the first orbit into the orbital radius mva0 is equal to h cut is h upon 2 pi. So this is a simple system of equation and we can easily solve it, and if we solve it we get a0 is equal to h cut square upon k me electronic charge squared. Okay, now we were supposed to find the ionization energy. So once we have A0, we can find out the kinetic energy and potential energy. So now what is the total energy? Total energy is half mv square minus, that's the kinetic energy, and minus ke square by A0. So that's the potential energy, k q1 q2 by r, you know that. And nuclear charge is positive, electronic charge is negative, therefore a minus sign. And what you can write for this, mv square by 2. Okay, so this is nothing but, from here you can see mev square by A0 is ke square upon A0 square. So you take A0 over there, so this becomes nothing but ke square upon A0 itself, right? So ke square by 2 A0 and minus ke square by A0, this becomes minus ke square by 2 A0. This is the total energy. And when we are talking about ionization energy, it means that we want to remove the electron all the way to the infinity, and when it is at infinity, you know that the total energy will become 0. Why? Because A0 k q1 q2 by r goes to infinity, it becomes 0. And kinetic energy is also 0 at infinity because radius is infinite, and that's the standard theory, Bohr theory, you know that at infinity the energy is 0. So we can straight away say ionization energy will then be final energy minus the initial energy, and that is IH is ke square by 2 A0. So keep this result in mind. Here we are writing ionization energy in terms of A0. Generally we just remember the values of constants, but here we'll be needing this expression for simplification of the further part. So IH is equal to ke square upon 2 A0. Okay, just keep this in mind. Ke square by 2 A0 is the ionization energy, IH. So wherever I'll get ke square by 2 A0, I would like to substitute that in terms of IH for simplification. Okay. Now the second part, consider a singly ionized helium atom He plus. Obtain the ground state ionization energy IHE plus of He plus in terms of IH. So this is again a straightforward problem. We know the ionization energy of hydrogen and we want to find the ionization energy for helium. So you know that E is equal to E0 Z square by N square. We know it even before solving this, but we just have to do some maths and solve the equations formally to get the solution to this one. Again, a pretty straightforward question. So by the logic similar to the one applied for hydrogen atom, we can say that mv square by r, that's the centripetal acceleration, is provided by the electrostatic attraction. Now here helium Z is 2, so 2 ke square upon r square. And we also know that mvr is h by 2 pi because we are talking about the ground state ionization energy we want to find out. So first orbit mvr is h by 2 pi, and if you solve this system of equations, you get r is equal to h cut square upon 2k me square, me times e square, and this is a0 by 2. If you remember on the last slide we had got a0, and this is nothing but a0 upon 2. Okay, because a0 was what, h cut square upon kme e square. So this, there's a 2 in the division. Okay, and what's the total energy now? we just again add the kinetic energy half mv square and then the potential energy, and this is again the standard result. R we got on the previous slide, A naught. Okay, fine. So just we put the value of R here in terms of A naught, and we get this energy as minus 2 Ke square by A naught, that is minus 4 I ionization energy of the hydrogen atom, because Ke square by 2 A naught was the ionization energy for the hydrogen atom. So this is minus 4 times the ionization energy of the hydrogen atom. So this is the total energy, and again for ionization energy, you know that will be negative of the total energy in the first orbit. So ionization energy of helium atom for helium in the electron is 4 times the ionization energy of the hydrogen. Alright, so that was part D, also pretty straightforward. Now let's look at part C. Now here we have it's a non-standard case. Here we have to apply some creativity and apply some logic to find the new solve for the new model. What's the question? Now consider a 2 electron system where arbitrary atomic number Z. Use the Bohr model to obtain ground state radius RZ in terms of A naught and Z. Assume the 2 electrons are in same circular orbit and as far apart as possible. That means they are diametrically opposite 2 electrons. Now here what modification will be required? You know that now generally in Bohr model we have a single electron, but here there are 2 electrons, so we have to take into account the repulsion by the other electron which is present diametrically opposite. Okay, but we will be using the standard procedure will be same. We will be applying the quantization rule, and the centripetal force is equal to mass times centripetal acceleration. Those equations will apply. So mv square by r, that's the centripetal acceleration, should be equal to kze square upon r square. Now this is the force due to the nuclear attraction, right? But in this case there are 2 electrons, so we also have to take into account the repulsion of the other electron. So that is ke square upon 2r whole squared. Why 2r? Because the other electron is at the upper end of the diameter, so the distance becomes 2r and the charge is e. So this is the centripetal force is equal to mass times centripetal acceleration, and of course the quantization rule for each electron, mvr is equal to h upon 2 pi, because it's the first orbit. Okay, so we can simplify this a little bit. In this centripetal force equation, you take r on the you can take 1r on this side and then simplify, multiply this by r square, and this is what you will get. So mv square r will be coming out to be ke square z minus 1 by 4. From this equation itself we can get this by simplifying. And what about the second equation? So from the second equation, if you take the square and divide by me, this is what you will get directly from the second equation. So me into v square r is equal to h cut square upon mer. So this is just the squaring and manipulating this equation. mvr is equal to h by 2 pi. Now this is also mv square r, this is also mv square r, so you can equate the RHS of both the equations and then you can solve, and you get the radius as h cut square upon kme e square z minus 1 by 4. And if you remember from the first slide, h cut square upon kme e square was nothing but the Bohr radius for the hydrogen atom, so that was nothing but a naught. Okay, on the first slide we had shown this. Okay, so you can keep this in mind, h cut square upon kme e square is a naught, so this radius is a naught upon z minus 1 by 4. So that's the solution to part C. Now the things get more interesting with part D. Now derive an expression for first ionization energy, Iz theoretical. Here th is theoretical because later on we'll also get experimental parts. So first ionization energy, Iz theoretical, for 2 electron system with arbitrary z in terms of z and ih. Okay, so once again whatever we did in part C, same thing we have to do for a general z now. Okay, so in fact in part C also we obtained the radius for general z. Now we have to obtain the kinetic the ionization energy for the general z with 2 electron system. Okay, so now kinetic energy of the 2 electron system will be half mv square plus half mv square, so that is m electron into v square. So that's why a half is missing over, because it's the sum of 2 electron energies. Okay, mv square, and this should be equal to, you know that if you divide this by r, that becomes mass times centripetal acceleration, and this becomes the centripetal force, then k e square z minus 1 by 4 upon r square. So instead of writing an r square over here and dividing here by r, I have removed an r from here and I have reduced this power by 1. So mv square is this, you can say this, and this is, if you simplify this now, r we had found in the previous problem. So r was nothing but a naught upon z minus 1 by 4 that we had obtained in the last part. So if you put r as a naught upon z minus 1 by 4, so this becomes z minus 1 by 4 squared, and k e square by 2 a naught, k e square. So this can be expressed in terms of energy of the hydrogen, ionization energy of the hydrogen atom. So k e square by a naught is the twice the ionization energy of hydrogen atom, because on the first part, a part, we got k e square by 2 a naught as ionization energy, so it's double of that. So this is the kinetic energy expressed in terms of ionization energy of the hydrogen atom. Okay, then what about the potential energy of the two electron system? So potential energy, so we have to consider the interaction energy of the electrons amongst themselves and the interaction energy of the electrons with the nucleus. So for each electron, the interaction energy is kZe square by r with the negative sign because opposite charges, and therefore this is 2 sitting over there because there are 2 electrons. So this is the potential energy of interaction with the nucleus, and then there's also an interaction energy of the electrons amongst themselves, so that is ke square by 2r. Okay, so now you can simplify this. What you get, you take ke square by r common and you get z minus 2 ke square by r. If you take common, you get z minus 1 by 4. Okay, now r again you can put in terms of a naught. So r was a naught upon z minus 1 by 4. So if you put that, so there is r a naught upon z minus 1 by 4, so this will become whole square, and that's what I've written, minus 2 ke square by a naught into z minus 1 by 4 whole square. And once again, if you remember, ke square by 2 a naught, that was the ionization energy of the hydrogen atom, right? Ke square by 2 a naught, so this becomes 4 times the ionization energy, right? And there's a minus sitting over there, so this is minus 4 z minus 1 by 4 whole square ionization energy of the hydrogen atom. So here is the potential energy term and here is the kinetic energy term. So for finding the total energy of the two electron system, what you do, you simply add the kinetic energy with the potential energy term, and this is what you get for the total energy of the two electron system. Okay, so this is simple, same kind of terms coming. So this minus 2 z minus 1 by 4 whole square, okay, times the ionization energy of the hydrogen atom. Okay, and this is the initial energy with the two electron system. Now what about the final energy with the two electron system? So if you so final energy of the two, finally one electron is knocked out, so we are left with just one single electron, and that's the standard problem. You know that in that case the total energy is nothing but minus z square ionization energy of hydrogen atom, right? For helium z is 2, so that will be 4. So this is the standard result that we have used from our JE theory, that energy is E naught z square by n square. So that's what we have put for the first orbit. So this is the final total energy after one electron is knocked out, and this is the total energy with both the electrons present. So now what do you do for finding the ionization energy? You just subtract the two energies and you get the ionization energy. Theoretical ionization energy that you get, that is total energy final minus total energy initial. Okay, this minus this, and this is what you get. So ionization energy theoretical for any z comes out to be z square minus z plus 1 by 8 times the ionization energy of the hydrogen atom. So this was the answer to the part D of the problem. Okay, now things are going to get even more interesting, or you can say a little more complicated, because we are now introducing the experimental part. Okay, so now we look at the part E. So what does it say? The table below contains the experimental data IZ experimental in units of Rydberg, where 1 Rydberg is 13.6 electron volt versus Z for various two electron systems. Okay, so in the previous slide we had calculated the theoretical value of ionization energy. Now here we are listing the experimental value of ionization energy, and it will be deviating from the theoretical values, as we'll see later on. So experimental values were not found to be equal to the theoretical predictions. This difference arises mainly from non-inclusion of Pauli's principle in the theoretical derivation of part D. So we know we have talked about Pauli's exclusion principle or non-inclusion principle in part D. So it was suggested that if the value of Z was reduced by some fixed amount alpha, so instead of, we are making a model, instead of Z we are substituting Z star, which is Z minus alpha, like we do in the Moseley's law, something like that we are doing here, so as to match the experimental results. So this is the our proposal. Z star is Z minus alpha in the final expression of IZ experimental obtained in part D, and then it is seen that I theoretical becomes almost equal to I experimental. So this is the observation, and we can say this is the hypothesis, such that we have to find the alpha such that this holds, that IZ star theoretical, instead of Z if we substitute Z star, that is Z minus alpha, it should start matching with the experimental results, and we want to evaluate the value of alpha such that this happens. So draw a suitable linear plot, and from the graph find two graph paper, and from the graph we have to find the value of alpha. Sorry, I did not forgot to type it here, or maybe it got deleted. So draw suitable linear plot, and from the graph we have to find the value of alpha. There's supposed to be a value alpha written over here, so that's not there. So let me just write it with a pen over here. Find alpha. Okay, and now two graph papers are provided, and with this booklet in case you make a mistake. Okay, fine. So now let's move, look at the solution. So this is the table given, H plus Z is given, and then the experimental value of IZ is given, HE also, and like that we are given all the way for Z equal to 1 to 9 we are given the experimental values. Okay, fine. So let me take the pointer. Fine. Now let's see how we can proceed with this, how we can go about finding alpha. So now delta IZ, we need to estimate alpha by some kind of linear graph. So we want to find a linear expression which we can plot on the graph, which can help us find the value of alpha. So let us consider the expression delta IZ as I theoretical Z minus I experimental Z. So that is I theoretical Z minus I theoretical Z star. I mean, instead of Z we are going to put Z minus alpha, and this is the difference, the two value difference that we are going to plot. Okay, so if you do that, you remember that in I theoretical we had got Z square minus Z plus 1 by 8. So if you want to replace Z by Z minus alpha, so this is what you will get, Z square minus Z plus 1 by 8 minus, instead of Z minus alpha square minus Z minus alpha plus 1 by 8. And if you subtract the two, you can see that Z square term is going to get finished, and we are only going to get a linear expression. Delta IZ comes out to be minus alpha square plus 2Z alpha minus alpha times IH. So if I plot the graph of delta IZ versus Z, it's going to be a straight line graph. You can see readily from here, and the slope of that graph is going to be 2 alpha. Y is equal to mx plus c, you can see something like that. So slope of that graph is going to be 2 alpha. Okay, and what is this graph going to be? This graph is going to be plotted in theoretical values minus the experimental values versus Z. That's the graph we are going to plot. Now this should give us a linear graph between delta IZ and Z, and its slope will be 2 alpha, as I said. And the required values we have calculated in a table. So I have prepared this table, and we have subtracted the experimental and theoretical values to get the value of delta IZ. So rightmost table is the subtraction of experimental and theoretical ionization energy values, and this is the table that you get. Now the task is very simple. You are given a graph paper, and you just need to plot delta IZ versus Z. So you can very easily do it on a graph paper, but I have used a software for plotting, so hope you don't mind, just to make things easy for. So this is the kind of plot that you get, delta IZ versus Z. And now you just find out its slope. If you calculate the slope of this line, the slope of the graph from the plot, you can see it is 2 alpha will it is 2 alpha, which comes out to be 0.24, and that gives us alpha is equal to 0.12. So that's the solution to the part E. So that brings us to the end of the solution of problem 3, and I hope all of you did like this video. And if you did like this video, please do subscribe to my channel if you've not already subscribed, and share it with your friends, any friends, or maybe if you're a teacher, your students, if they're preparing for Olympiads, you can share this video with them. And if you are a student, your peers might benefit from this video, you can share this video with your peers, and do give it a thumbs up. That's all for this video, and see you in the next one. Thank you.